Hey guys, this is Villains Demand. This is another episode of Monsters Matter. I am Evan the Great.
And I'm Smiley. Today we're talking about the fungus among us.
Yes. As your adventurers travel through lands of uncharted territory, through the forest, through the swamp, through the mushroom field, they slow down as it gets dark to make camp. As they get ready to make camp, they need some type of cover as the rain is starting to rain. So they notice that some of these mushrooms are large. They try to get under them. It ain't really working, so they get this bright. They get an idea. Hey, we should cut some of them down and build like a fort with them. As they start to cut the first one down, it moves. Now it is dark, and I notice that a lot of these are moving as they hear pain coming from not this plant, but this creature. And that is when the party finds out they're in a place and they do not know of what.
The Myconid. The Myconid is the big bad mushroom. Well, not bad at it by any means, but they are the big mushroom men of the Underdark. They grow sick and pale in sunlight, and I love your description of them just looking like mushrooms because they are actually like humanoids out of
Yeah, they look like humanoid. But
I just wanted to enjoy that.
it is
so
nice.
much.
It is dark. It is dark.
Exactly. They cannot stand being in the daylight. There's not actually a lot of lore about myconids. They've just always been a thing that's been in the books. They are even in some of the Drift books. They're in our Out of the Abyss game, i.e. School, The Fallen, the poor, downtrodden mushroom boy, the Gromlet die.
Spoiler alert, if you watch these and have not seen that video, don't listen to what Smiley said.
I just wanted to pick Grom. I just wanted to poke at them. Yeah. But overall, the myconids are an interesting creature archetype, as in they're not evil. In the Underdark, they're not an evil creature. You can parlay with them. In fact, they enjoy talking or rapporting with others. They do like a Vulcan mind meld with their spores. I don't know why did that should be that, but yeah.
So, Richard, what can you tell us about what does a myconid do per se? Because they're humanoid features. Do they have colonies? Do they have homes?
They have clusters, and each cluster has several adults, a few sprouts, and a single sovereign. A sovereign is kind of like the myconid king. They stand up to 12 feet tall, they're powerful, but they're usually benevolent for the most part.
Yeah.
The Tome of Foes, or not Tome of Foes, but the Tome of Beasts, by Kobold Press, has a corrupted myconid death cap.
That sounds amazing.
And to top all this off, they also take the corpses that they find, some that they make, if that ever happens, and infect them with spores that reanimates the body. And they're called, and overgrows them with fungus, and those are called spore servants. It's a template that's in the Monster Manual that you can apply to any creature. The Out of the Abyss book has several other ones in it outside of that, the template example given.
That sounds really cool.
And they use that to cultivate their fungus fields. They live in a life entirely around fungus. They do not go to the surface because the sun is like vile and deathly to them. But they're very much in the vein of the psychedelic era, if you know what I mean. Being around them their spores causes euphoria in others.
That is fairly amazing. Because, man, when you think of myconid, we've had one in our game, and we ran around with. But when you actually think about it and you read up on some of their, what they are, the adults, there's children, you find out they're more than just a mushroom. They're human. I mean, a human species, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have thought and emotion. They don't convey feelings like we do. Like they don't have a concept of music, for example.
Yeah.
Or like song and dance. They don't understand those concepts.
They don't have legs, or do they?
Yeah, they have legs.
Yeah, they do.
Specifically, sprouts. Like every depiction of a sprout does not have them with arms, but they have a punch attack. If you look at pictures of sprouts, they just look like phallic.
So they're gonna punch
They
you
look
with
very phallic.
their wiener head.
I was trying to keep from saying that, but yes.
That's as PG as I can get. Wiener head.
Their phallus head.
Besides that, their spores, like Smiley was saying, they have a array of different spore attacks and ways that they can, I guess, infect you with poisonous spores.
In each form, each myconid type has different spores.
Yeah.
And like what you were showing in your intro is that they have the distress spores. Like if you hurt a myconid, every myconid in the area will know you hurt someone. They will know who you hurt. And they will find you. And they will hurt you back.
They hurt it on accident. But it's something cool to put in your game, to put in your world. You can drop myconids into a cool setting, especially if it's like an Underdark setting or somewhere where it would fit. Maybe like a cave with some mushroom village in it.
That'd be cool. Like whenever they would come out at night.
Yeah.
And they have this whole like horror, like this whole like folk story about how the forest comes to life at night, and what it is, these myconids coming out of the cave.
So really, it would be a horror story, but really, if you ever met these,
well, that's a misconception.
It's not a horror story. Maybe these people found out of this myconid village and they enjoyed it and they stayed there. So then they thought the forest was eating people.
That could very well be.
And that's not the case.
Because the thing is though, like every form of myconid has a new type of spore.
Yeah.
The sprouts have rapport spores, which allow them a telepathic link up to whoever breathes them in, and distress spores. The adults, I believe, get pacifying spores.
They do. Yeah.
And then the sovereign, they get hallucinating spores, which is what I talk about the psychedelic effects. It's literally like doing mushrooms or doing acid. And they get animated spores, which is what they use to make the spore servants.
That's crazy. So besides all their spores and their way that they live life, they're not typically a weak or strong. They're kind of just average in physical statistics.
Overall,
they're a little hardy, but
overall, myconids kind of serve as a good low-level encounter.
Yeah.
For players to run into if you plan on them to fight them. They can group up fast because they're so in tune with each other. So one thing for high levels, you could have like an actual city be like there. There's a lot of myconids in the area. So if they heart one, they're going to have a huge battle on their hands, which would be kind of fun, but it will be a bit taxing as well.
It sounds really fun. Like you could do quite a bit with the myconid community. Plus, you can also throw it in a low-level setting and build an adventure off of it and have them become allies.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's possible.
And the out of the Abyss has like some suggestive background traits, tie characters into the story. One of them is that I've melded with a myconid colony, and I long to do so again.
Yeah,
because it is a very euphoric sensation. The what I would do if you want to go evil with them, you can make the colony into a cult to Zoctmoy, the demon queen of fungi. And you have some other fungus related creatures involved as well.
I just thought about it. Something that'd be cool. I always think about these when we're doing these videos. If you just want to make them evil, what if you had like a bunch of the small, like the smaller ones, and you might have had a couple big ones, but the smaller ones all get into like a big, large like sack, and then you have a filthy hill giant who just carries it around like Santa Claus. He just dumps them out, and they run and ransack your village.
A hill giant spore servant.
Yeah.
Oh
even
my
better.
god!
See what happens whenever we do these videos? We come up with cool ideas.
Dude, they could be like services like boy. You can give them the sovereign levels of druid.
This is amazing. We have figured out a way to make this awesome.
As we always do.
And then we would have an enemy for our other video, the flunk. The wee woo.
The wee woo versus the eat-oo.
But that's just a cool idea. I don't know why I thought of that. It just sounds kind of cool.
I'm now putting a mic in our game called eat-oo. Eat-oo.
I like it. But that is pretty awesome. But you can use them in several different ways.
Oh, yeah.
That was just made up on the fly, and that's awesome. In our current game, we're trying to deliver one home that died.
Yes.
But they can become very attached. I think they could. They can become. They're cool. You can use them in various different ways.
They see death as a natural cycle and necessary for life to prosper, which is literal for them. Was actually require dead things in order to cultivate their young.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
They're an interesting creature. There's not a lot of lore about them, like I said, and they're fun to play around with. Good to get into the mindset of. If players are used to seeing myconids and have a general idea about how myconids act, you can make them act out of the usual to see those players pick up on them, try to figure out what's going on with them.
Yeah, like a hill giant running around with some of them attached to him.
You should go with Fomorian though, because those are the underground giants.
That would even be cooler.
They have the death gaze. And we broke the world. This is like a myconid
Or you go
colony
across
with
the
a backup.
bridge.
The myconids live on the Fomorian.
That's awesome.
With the giant mushroom stalks coming out that supports like a small building, with the myconids that houses the myconid sprouts, and like you said, a sack, and like the whole Fomorian like thing is like crawling on his arms and legs. And like they're like go from like Underdark villas, just like never mind.
You're going, and I love the direction. You can also use a tree ant and have the
mushroom tree
Yeah,
ants.
mushroom tree ants.
I have rules for that. I legit have rules for that. They're in. I would be pissed.
So, yeah, that's all. When we make these, I get all these ideas. I'm like, I gotta put that in my game. Yeah, that's gotta happen.
Yeah,
because that's cool. But
I like it. We do good work, bro.
Yay! Anything else?
He never touches. It's sad.
I'm against touching. No kidding.
As the stalk shrieks, the mushroom forest seems to come alive as grasping hands latch out from the trunks as arms pull legs free from the ground. You hear a rumble as the shadow form stalks forward, mushrooms clambering up its arms and legs to the safety of its back as this undead, a fungal overgrown giant crawls, and upon it stands 12 feet high, straddling its neck, with a large cap, the most vile one of these you've ever seen. The lichen covers its body like armor, and the smell of rot fills your nose as a cloud of spores waft your way. You don't remember what happens next. Just the soft, cool soil as they place it around you.